Hello, my name is Dee, and welcome to Gentle Yoga. I hope your space is set up and that you're nice and comfortable in your spot. And we can take an easy seat in whatever position is comfortable for you. Stretch is my little yoga class sidekick, so um, I hope he's entertaining. Anyway, we'll start in with a short breathing exercise and meditation, just letting ourselves sort of release everything from our day, everything that's happened, everything we had to do. And I like to close my eyes, so I invite you to do the same or turn your gaze down. And we can close our mouth, breathing in and out through the nose, unless you're congested. And then feel free to breathe through your mouth as much as needed. And just begin to pull your attention inside, taking these moments to check in, gauge how the body's feeling today. Maybe noting areas in the body that you'll be more careful with today. And begin to take some deeper breaths here. Just letting the body maintain the inhales and exhales as long as comfortable. Drawing the breath in, noticing the more full expansion of your lungs. And maybe slowing down the exhale, letting yourself breathe all the air out before reversing the breath and letting more in. Maybe notice the ways your body's moving as you inhale. Notice the way your body moves as you exhale. We focus on the breath and on the inside of the body to be able to release what's happening externally, paying more attention to the internal landscape within us, checking in during our yoga practice and maybe during other times of the day, helping ourselves regulate our thoughts and feelings and emotions, our energy, just being aware of this side of ourselves that we often don't pay as much attention to. Hopefully, your breath is longer, smoother, deeper. And we'll begin the breathing exercise of extended breaths. And this can really be individualized to match your body, your mood, how you're feeling right now. And so, what we'll do is breathe in and count to ourselves in our head. And as we reverse the breath and breathe out, we want to count 1 to 2 times more, 1 to 2 counts more. We're not trying to double the exhale, we're just extending it a little longer. And we're just watching what this does to our internal landscape. Noticing how this extra effort on the exhale changes what's going on inside. Hopefully, it's more calming. on the body, on the mind. And at any time your mind wanders, practice gently bringing it back. No judgment. Grateful for the opportunity to connect once again with the breath so that body and mind come together. Let's now release the extra effort on the exhales, bringing the breath side to side back into balance. Again, checking in on any other sensations you might be feeling in the body. Maybe making a mental note to think about something later that's come up. The mind will always keep minding. And next, let's slowly blink open our eyes. Just let the light ease kind of inside and keep the eyes low and kind of relaxed. And let's just inhale and bring the arms up overhead. We'll keep them up high as we reach our fingertips towards the ceiling. Try to keep your back in a neutral position, your pelvis in a neutral position. You're extending the length of your spine, the length of your arms, and feel the sits bones really planted on the floor. No matter what shape your legs are in, even if you've moved your position, all of that's okay. On your next exhale, we'll lower the arms down by our sides, and let's bring our chin towards our chest. We can bring our hands into our lap, maybe interlace the fingers, and set the tips of your thumbs right up against each other, kind of making a little bowl out of your hands. And take 2 more breaths here. Feel the back of the neck extending. Let's inhale and lift our chin up to neutral. And let's make our way to kneeling. I feel like as long as everyone's knees are okay, we can kneel just to change our leg position a little bit. If you'd like to bring your hips down low and have your kneeling be more with the legs tighter together, that's fine. And we're going to inhale just the right arm up overhead. So just lengthen that arm out to the side, reach it up overhead. We'll bend our elbow, kind of bring the forearm on top of the head, and we'll just draw the ear towards the shoulder as we bend our upper body. Doesn't matter how far over you've gone. We just want to open these side ribs on the right side of the body. Let your next inhale lift the head, the ear comes away from the shoulder. We'll lift the hand up towards the ceiling, and then we'll bring the arm straight down in front of us, and we're just going to leave it shoulder height. We'll open the hand out wide, um, bringing the hand out to the right side. And let's bend the elbow coming into cactus arm. And then we'll go ahead and release the hand, keeping the elbow at shoulder height. See if you can press the palm of the hand back behind you. Try not to tense up the right shoulder too much. We'll inhale, bringing that hand back up. We'll extend the arm back out to the side. We'll draw that hand straight across, bringing it straight in front of the body. An inhale brings it back up over the head or reaching towards the stars. And the next exhale, we'll release the hand down by our side. Let's wag kind of the head back and forth. See how it feels to drop an ear towards each shoulder. Maybe you want to look down again for a breath or two, kind of extend the back of the neck. We're releasing the tension that working with that right arm may have built up. You can look from right to left as well. Just letting the throat, shoulder, upper back area get a little more loose and released. Let your next inhale release the left hand, or go ahead and breathe how you want. Release the left hand down by your side. We'll inhale that arm up, straight overhead. We'll bend the elbow. Forearm comes right on top of the head, and we'll lean our upper body over. Bring the right ear down towards the right shoulder. And take a couple breaths here. We're trying to keep our back neutral. There might be a tiny little arch in the back. Hips or pelvis is neutral. An inhale brings that arm up, fingertips lift towards the sky, ear comes away from the shoulder, and then we'll exhale. That hand comes down in front, shoulder height, palm facing in towards the center. The next inhale will draw that arm slowly out to the side, shoulder height. Next inhale, we'll come back into cactus arms. Exhale, we'll release that hand, really press that palm back behind us. Try to keep that elbow lifted, shoulder height. Inhale, hand comes back up to cactus arms. Shoulder should relax a little more. Exhale, we'll bring that hand out, shoulder height, and then we'll draw the hand in. You can stay with your breathing. Inhale that arm back up overhead, and then exhale that arm down by your side. From here, let's go ahead and come up onto the knees. If using a block helps you press less into one knee in case one knee is more sore or slightly more shocking to you, I guess. Then the other side, you can use a block to help steady you and take some pressure off. We'll go ahead and extend the left leg out to the side. You can mirror me with your right or use your left side as well. And just first feel that stretch. Try to keep your hips side to side, up and down, in a way that doesn't cause you to change that neutral position of your hips. And you should feel a nice little stretch in the inside thigh. We can lay that left hand somewhere along that leg, and we'll inhale the right arm up, reaching, extending the spine before exhaling and tipping to the left. That right hand reaches over, right shoulder's in line with the left. And see if you can begin to feel the stretch a little more deeply, perhaps a little more towards the waist area here. We'll inhale, coming straight up and down. Exhale, releases that right hand palm, and we'll lean over to plant that right hand on the mat right next to us. We can stay here, maybe stack the top arm if we'd like, or keep that top hand at our waist. If we want, we can inhale that left leg and bring it up to hip height. Maybe we are using our arm and our leg, extending them. Maybe we're keeping the leg low, the arm high. Make your yoga your own. The foot can just be lifted off the ground if that's more comfortable. Exhale to release that leg first, then release the upper arm. You can draw the knee in first and then press up off that right palm, and we'll switch to the other side. So keeping those hips even, stretch that right leg out towards the bottom or top end of the mat, depending on how you're set up. And just take a few moments to check in with your hips. Really press into the hip on the extended leg side. Feel that nice stretch in the inner thigh, tight in the core, protecting that spine. And we'll release the right hand somewhere along the right leg. Let your next inhale Draw the left arm up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, reach over. Right hand can reach towards your ankle. Left fingers are reaching towards the right side of the room. Left shoulder is stacked on top of the right. And you're opening the left side body, trying to get a nice stretch here as you breathe. We'll inhale to come straight up as you're ready. Exhale releases that left hand. We did that reversed, quite different than the first time. We'll draw the right knee underneath, and let's come up into table. Set your knees under your hips. Give your hands some width. I like to go a little wider than my shoulders, and let your inside elbows face toward each other. This is an alignment that works for keeping your shoulders more stable. But if orienting your hands slightly differently works better for you, I'd rather you pick that. See if you can open up your fingers. And while we're in positions like table, plank, downward facing dog, see if you can recreate pressing on the tips of the fingers and thumb, pressing on the heel of the hand, but lifting up the middle portion of the palm. And we'll have our hands oriented in this way as we start cat and cow. So as you're ready, inhale, begin to lift your navel up towards your spine as you round your back, drop your head, tuck your tailbone in. Just feel wherever you've stopped, just stretch into that point as you breathe. We'll wait for the next exhale. Excuse me. Let the back move in between cat and to neutral all the way to cow. Watch the head so that the neck doesn't bend or come at an angle that's too intense. I like to keep my eyes right at the top of my mat as I lift my head and tailbone. You can keep going at your pace. Navel drops towards the floor. You can kind of release the chest. Your knees, excuse me, and your wrists are then propping up your hips and your shoulders, letting the body find the full range of motion that's comfortable for you to have. All part of a gentle practice, keeping your focus internal and watching your body's response, knowing when to stop, when to linger, maybe hold for a breath, and when to release. Let's all bring our spines to neutral, and we'll tuck under our toes, press on the feet to lift the hips and knees up and back into downward facing dog. Downward dog's going to be our signature pose today, meaning that we'll come here in between lots of different poses and shapes that we'll make of our body. So let's begin by walking the dog. You can move as slowly as you'd like to bend and straighten each knee. Kind of take turns stretching out the backs of your legs. And then with the heels even, take turns bending the knees deeply, drawing your chest and abdomen towards your thighs, and then straightening the knees, straightening kind of your V, upside down V shape. And make sure you lift your heels really high up off the floor, bringing the stretch into your toes. You may want to press evenly into your feet or take turns there, whichever works best for you. And then let's exhale as we release the knees to the floor, letting them come slowly down, floating down, come back into our table. And here, let's step the right foot back. So we'll lengthen that leg back behind us into extended cat. We'll inhale to lift that back leg parallel to the floor. heel even with the hip, and let's press through that heel, and then we'll point and flex the leg here a few times, just moving again at your own pace. And on the next exhale, let's release that right knee. We'll press into that right knee, the right foot, and lift the left leg. Stretch that leg back behind into extended cat. Hands pressing into the floor, the right knee and foot stable. Let your next inhale lift the left foot up, parallel to the ground. Press through the heel, lengthening the leg, and then point the toes. Leg stays lengthened as you're giving the ankle a little bit of a workout here, stretching the tops and the top and the bottom of this foot. Pointing and flexing at your own pace and letting the next exhale release that left knee down. Let's sway the hips from left to right. And let's keep the head and shoulders as still as we can and centered on your mat. And then we're going to begin to move the head and shoulders a little more each time our hip goes side to side. The head and shoulders go opposite. And let's begin to look back towards our feet. We're just rocking across each knee and lower leg, kind of adjusting the pressure on the hands, maybe bending an elbow as you move from side to side. Bring your hips back to center, and we'll extend the right leg again back behind us. We'll inhale to lift that back leg, and then we'll bend the right knee. We're going to lift the foot towards the ceiling. Press through the heel and see if you can kind of take a peek, making sure your knee is about hip height. Sole of the foot is flat as if it were walking on your ceiling. From here, we'll inhale, lifting the knee slightly, exhale, lowering the knee back to parallel to the ground and even with the hip. And let's keep moving this slight little knee lift and foot lift, the lower leg coming along with on this right side. Pressing into the hands still, gaze at the floor. When you're when you're ready to release, exhale that right knee down, and you can sway the hips or maybe sit back on your legs and heels and release your wrists. We've been kind of intense here in our table. Downward dog, sunbird. At least we're working our way up to sunbird section here. Let's release that left leg back behind us now. If you moved out of your table spot, just use your muscle memory to get right back where you were. Left leg's extended back behind you, toes are curled under. Let the next inhale lift the heel, hip height. We'll then bend that knee, flatten the foot, and then we'll begin those little lifts of the knee, foot, and lower leg. Lowering and lifting, keeping the knee hip height and then a little above. Really moving into the glutes area of the hips. And again, when you're ready to release, let the next exhale release. We'll come back into our table, widen our knees apart, bring your big toes together and sink your upper body toward your mat, releasing your chest, your neck, your head towards the floor. Arms extended up overhead. Take a couple of breaths, seeing how full you can get your lungs here. We'll let our next inhale bring us back up into table. We'll come back onto our hands and knees, walking the knees together, and we'll extend that right foot back behind us. One last time. This time, let's release the left hand. Walk the fingers in front or reach your hand, maybe hovering above the floor. Tight in your core, tight in your abdomen. And if you'd like, you can stay here. If you'd like to inhale and hover, bringing the hand and foot, fingers and toes slightly above the ground. You can do that. You can also bring them to parallel. Shift that wrist so that your palms facing towards the midline. Press through the heel and feel the length through that diagonal part of the body. Right leg, left hand. And when you're ready to release, release and either come into child's pose or kneel and give yourself a little wrist massage. Maybe roll your wrists in circles or figure eights. Whatever feels good, wiggle your fingers, open and close your hands. We'll meet back at our table and let's extend that left foot long back behind us, toes curled under. We'll walk or slide the right hand forward, and we can keep ourselves steadied here. We can work on our balance by releasing a little bit of the pressure on left toes, right fingers. If we're able, we can lift that hand and foot any amount, but no higher than shoulder and hip height. Find the length in your sunbird, no matter where you are. Your hand and foot can be near the ground, and you can still find length there. And when you're ready, exhale and release. Let's curl the toes under and come right back up into downward facing dog. Stretch here for a moment. Keeping the hips lifted high towards the ceiling, letting the head kind of relax and just hang off the shoulders. Let the next inhale bring your gaze to your hands, and we're going to lower our hips to come into plank or half plank. Tight in our core, strong in the arms and legs. Holding ourselves up with our hands and either our feet or our knees and feet. And as you exhale, begin to lower yourself onto the mat. Try to slow your descent as much as possible. Perhaps your hips will come down first. Perhaps you're strong enough to let the hips and chest and head come down all together. With your hands still under your shoulders, keep your elbows in towards your side and inhale to lift, peeling your head, neck, and chest up off the mat. And just see how much you can extend your head away from your hips. Tighten the core to lift. Tighten the back behind you. Those muscles working to keep you lifted. Exhale, and we'll lower our head, neck, and chest towards the floor. Take a breath here. Your forehead can be on the floor. You can stack your palms, rest your forehead there. On the next inhale, begin to bend your right knee, bringing your foot up towards the ceiling. Reach your right hand around and see if you can grab a pant leg, an ankle, or a foot, and hold on to that leg. Let the heel come towards the hip to stretch your quad muscles. Take a few breaths here. On the next inhale, we'll lift the head, neck, and chest. We can kind of press on that left hand still under the left shoulder, but we'll reach that left hand out, pointing our fingers or stretching our fingers away from the shoulder as we hold on to this right leg, or right foot rather, maybe right pant leg. And then let's exhale. We'll bend that left elbow, place the hand right underneath the forehead. Let go of that right hand or right foot rather, and let the right hand come back to the front. You can stack your palms, Rest your head. Take a breath. On the next inhale, let's move our hands underneath both of our shoulders, tuck our elbows in by our side, and let the next inhale bring us back up into our cobra, peeling the front part of the body away from the floor, feeling those stomach muscles and back muscles working together to lift you. Let an exhale release you. We'll come back into crocodile. We can hold up our forehead with our palms. Let's now bend the left knee. Left foot comes up towards the ceiling. We'll reach that left hand around, draw that heel in towards the left hip. And get that same nice stretch across the quad muscles of the left thigh. Breathing slowly, smoothly. Let your next inhale lift the head, neck, and chest. We can stretch that right arm out now and reach our fingertips away from us towards the wall that's right in front of us. And then we'll exhale. We'll bend that right elbow, lay the forehead down on top of the right palm, release that left foot with the left hand. Coming back into crocodile. Let your next inhale bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. We'll curl under our toes. And let's come up to downward facing dog once again, either through table or through plank or half plank. And walk the dog again here. Let your next inhale shift your vision towards your hands. We'll press on our left foot. Let your right foot on lift up towards the ceiling. Doesn't matter how high up it comes. Let the next exhale draw that right foot through and up to the front in between your hands. We'll press on the floor. We can drop the back knee, let it float down to the floor, flatten that foot, or we can keep ourselves lifted in a high lunge instead of a low lunge. Let your next inhale bring your upper body away from that forward leg, and let's bend the knee. Careful to keep the knee on top of the heel. We're pressing into the toes and the ball of the foot in the back. The heel is lifted. From here, let's release our upper body so that we're coming into a diagonal shape from the crown of the head to that back foot. We can inhale to bring our hands into prayer pose, placing the hands at the heart, or we can keep our hands resting on our thigh to give us a little more stability here. No matter where your hands are, let's inhale and turn towards that bent knee. So we're turning towards the right. And we might be wobbly, but that's okay. We're strengthening our body here. Let's inhale to come back to center and exhale to release our hands down towards the floor again. Upper body releases. We'll step that right foot back, coming back into downward facing dog. Take a few breaths and stretches here. And then we'll press into that right foot. Let an inhale lift the left foot towards the ceiling. The exhale bends that left knee, drawing that foot forward. Coming into a low lunge, we can float down the back knee. Coming into a high lunge, we'll keep the knee away from the floor. You can use your blocks here to inhale and press yourself up away from that forward leg. Checking to make sure the hips are facing this short edge of the mat. Maybe walking the left foot out a little more wide on the mat, broadening the sort of the footprint that you have here. And then let's lean the upper body forward, find that diagonal, pressing into this forward leg, left knee over left ankle. And if you're ready and you'd like to make this into a twist, you can begin to twist towards that left knee, coming into prayer pose with a twist in a high lunge. Exhale, come back to center, release your hands to the floor, and step that left foot back. Let's come into child's pose by floating down the knees, walking them out wide, sinking the hips back and down towards the heels, and stretching the arms out in front of us, releasing the chest towards the floor. The forehead rests on the floor. Take three more breaths here. On your next inhale, walk both hands towards the right side of the mat. Just let your side body, the right side body, come towards that right thigh and knee. And feel the stretch as you reach your fingers away from your shoulders. Feeling a stretch from the tips of your fingers all the way to the hips. And then on the next exhale, let's walk back to center. On the next inhale, we'll keep walking our hands over to the left, drawing the left side body, the left side of the chest over towards that left knee and thigh. Arms reaching out above the head, walking the fingers away, hands side by side, extending the spine, the arms, the hands. Breathing into the lungs. Let your next exhale, walk your hands back to center. And then the next inhale can bring you back up to your table. And let's come up to standing through either a high or low kneel, stepping one foot forward, or you can come up through downward facing dog once again. But we'll all meet at the top of the mat in mountain pose. So I'd like to introduce Pada Bandha. Pada Bandha is one of the binding postures in yoga practice. And so we are often cued to press into the four corners of the feet, bringing the soles of the feet as flat as possible against our mat or the floor. To achieve Pada Bandha, press into the balls of the feet and lift your toes. Press into the inside, the toe ball, rather, of the foot, so towards that center line, and then release the toes to the floor. Kind of let them bend and grip. Feel how active your soles of the feet are, and feel that action kind of rippling up through the legs. The leg muscles are tight. You're standing firmly. Check your pelvis next. You might even do a little bending and straightening and arching back and curving, and then bring that pelvis to neutral. Knees should have a tiny little micro bend. I forgot to mention that. Working our way up the spine, shoulders are down, relaxed away from the ears, shoulder blades are on the spine, on the back of the rib cage. Arms can be at your side. We can even face our palms forward. Chin is slightly tucked. Let's think about the crown of the head here. Crown of the head is reaching towards the ceiling, but we really want the back middle portion to be a little higher, reaching just a little more. This is going to help us automatically lower and tuck our chin slightly. And you'll feel this length and extension in the back of the neck. All right. From this shape, we can relax our hands now, and we'll step our left foot back. We're going to come into warrior one legs. So what we'll do is bend our front knee, track that knee over the ankle, and we want a 45-degree angle in that back foot. Back leg is extended long. Hips are both facing towards the front. Let's inhale and then lift our arms. We can lift one arm, both arms, or keep both arms at our sides if we'd like, or at our waist. If the hands are lifted, extend your arms towards the ceiling. And then hold this pose or this shape for 2 to 3 breaths, releasing on an exhale the arms as you're ready. And then we'll all meet by stepping that left foot, back foot up. We might take 1 or 2 or more than that, steps to bring our feet together at the top of the mat again. And we can shift from side to side, from foot to foot, maybe lift the knee here. And then we'll come back to our mountain pose. Sometimes that movement in between shapes helps release and relax the body, whatever muscles we've tensed up. So find your mountain pose. Find your Pada Bandha, pressing into the ball, inside ball of the foot, with the toes lifted and then released. See if you can feel the action in the muscles of the legs in your mountain pose here. Shoulders back and down, chin tucked, crown elevated towards the ceiling. We'll step this time the right foot back. We'll find our spot where our legs are comfortable. We can't have the back foot back so far that we can't point both of our hips towards the top of the mat. Left knee's bent, knees on top of ankle. That right leg is extended, it's getting a stretch. The right toes are at about a 45-degree angle. We're really setting up our legs before we decide to move our arms. We can move our hands to the heart. One or both arms can come up overhead on the next inhale. And take a few breaths in the warrior one shape that feels good to you and your body. And after you've taken 2 to 3 breaths, let that next exhale release your hands and arms, and we'll step that back leg up to meet the front leg. And again, we can just sway or step from side to side, kind of march in place. If it feels good to lift your knee, you can lift it hip height and maybe roll your ankles or point and flex your feet as you need to. Just listening to your body, figuring out what feels good, what it needs right at this time. All right, let's come back to our mountain. The next inhale, we'll take a sun breath, lifting the arms up overhead towards the sky. An exhale, we're going to nose dive forward fold, bend your knees and elbows, and come into surrender over the lower part of your body. Knees slightly bent, Abdomen resting on the thighs, arms and head hanging. Let the next inhale bring you halfway up. Hands can come to the shins or to the thighs. Make that back flat and extended, neutral pelvis. Tailbone reaching one direction, brain reaching the opposite direction. And the next exhale will bring us back into that deep forward fold, where we can take 2 more breaths here. On your next inhale, press down through both feet, lift up through your torso, arms come out to the side, up overhead, hands come together, and an exhale brings them to the heart. Let's turn so that we're facing the long edge of the mat, and we're going to walk our feet out wide into a wide angle shape. Legs in a V, toes facing forward and in line with your heels. Let's inhale, both arms come out to the side, up overhead. Let's exhale, and we'll release just the right arm and let that right hand come down towards that right ankle as you reach the left arm up and over, opening the left side ribs. We'll inhale to come straight up and down. You can lift that opposite arm back up. Exhale, brings the arms down by our side, finishing off that sun breath. Switch to the other side. We'll inhale. Both arms go out and up. Exhale, the left arm releases. Right arm leans over. Right shoulder's on top of left. Left fingers reach towards the heels. We'll inhale, bring us right back up, straight up and down. We can lift that left hand and arm now, and an exhale releases both arms by your side. Let's bring ourselves into a forward fold by placing our hands on our hips and just leading with the chest, not with the chin, not rounding the spine. Keep that back flat. We're going to eventually reach our hands down towards the floor, letting the palms and fingers support the upper body, and letting the head hang. Taking a breath or two here. Let's plant that right hand right in front of us, kind of right underneath the crown of the head. And we'll inhale, sweeping that left hand out and up, fingers reaching towards ceiling, coming into a wide angle twist. Stacking the arms, elbows, shoulders. Maybe bringing the gaze to that top hand or letting it find a spot on the side wall to look at. And the next exhale lowers that left hand. It sweeps back down. Left palm replaces right. And on the next inhale, we'll move into that twist in the opposite direction, letting the gaze follow, staying even side to side on the hips. The next exhale releases that right hand. Gaze can kind of follow that arm. We can bring our hands to our hips or leave them hanging. And as we step down through the feet, we'll inhale, flat back, lifts us back up. Arms come up overhead, palms come together, and we'll exhale, hands to the heart. Let's step the legs together. We can heel toe, or figure out the best way to bring the legs together. And then march in place or shake the legs. And then we'll make our way down on the mat onto our backs. So we'll all meet there. Arms by the side, long on the mat, legs extended towards the bottom. Let your next exhale bring you into a full body stretch. So as we inhale, we'll lift our hands up towards the ceiling, back behind us. Tuck your chin just a little bit as you reach the fingertips back behind you. Point and flex your feet. Feeling your legs and arms lengthening here. Pressing into the back of the head so you don't lift your chin. Maybe pressing more through one arm and then the other, or one leg. Maybe keeping to the same side as you lengthen, or lengthening at a diagonal, opposite arm and leg. And the next time you exhale, let's bring our arms right down by our side. All right, walk both feet up onto the mat. Heels are a little bit away from the hips. And let's bring the left foot to the middle, and we'll cross the left knee and thigh, cross the right knee and thigh over the left leg. So we're sitting with legs crossed as if we were on a chair with our legs tucked under. Let's now draw both knees towards our chest, and we'll reach our hands to the knees, and then walk your hands along your shin bone all the way as far down as you can reach to the end of your legs. And then draw your ankles or your feet, wherever you're holding on, draw the feet in towards the hips and feel that nice stretch. Take a few breaths here in stillness. And then try rocking a little bit from left to right. Maybe you're only moving your hips and not your shoulders as much, or maybe you want to rock your whole body side to side. Do what feels good. Give your legs one more squeeze in towards your body, and then release and uncross the legs, and just let both knees side by side tuck in towards the chest, wrapping your arms around your legs. And we can rock from side to side again here. We'll come back to center, and this time we'll cross the left leg over the right knee. Thighs line up as much as possible, knees line up. We can reach our hands towards the bottoms of the legs, reaching down towards those ankles or feet, drawing the feet in towards the hips, and feeling into that nice stretch that you're probably finding here. Keeping your breath extended and smooth. In stillness at first here. And then you can begin to shift with the hips from side to side. See if you can find any places that it might feel okay or good to linger in, using the breath to keep yourself being gentle with the body. Give your legs one more squeeze. In, then release the legs, uncross them. Keep the knees side by side. Wrap your arms around the legs or hold on to the backs of your thighs or knees, and let your body shift or roll from right to left. We'll come back to center and let the feet float down to the mat. And let's let the knees come out to the side. We'll bring the soles of the feet together in reclined butterfly pose. Bring our arms to a comfortable place by our side, palms up, palms down. And take a few breaths here. Try to let your knees relax, your thighs relax. You can place blocks or even bring your hands right where your thighs meet the floor. Giving your legs that little bit of support, encouraging them to release more towards the floor, opening the hips. And as you take your next exhale, bring yourself into a comfortable Shavasana shape. For many of us, we can straighten our knees, point our toes out to the sides, relax the legs. For some of us, that causes just a little bit of tension that's not welcome in the spine. So if we bend up through our knees, walk our feet out wide towards the edges of the mat, or as wide as you need to bring the knees in toward each other. And the knees prop each other up, letting the legs relax. This pose is known as constructive rest. And the pose I described before was corpse. Gently close down your eyes and begin to focus once more just on the breath. Following the inhales and the exhales. Watching your lungs empty and fill. Feel the places in your body that are touching the floor. Let those places soften and sink. And then bring your attention to the upper part of your body, the top half as you're lying here. Imagine that the front side of the body is sinking into the back side, softening more and more with each breath. The whole body getting heavy. Relaxing the muscles in the forehead and around the eyes. Relax the muscles of the jaw, maybe by opening and closing the mouth or reaching the bottom jaw farther away from the top. And then bringing jaws back together, not touching, but little gap there, tongue laying on the lower palate. Feeling your arms releasing to the floor, your legs releasing and relaxing. Feel the heaviness in your torso and your head. The heaviness in your hands and feet. Keeping your focus internal, staying present. And let's slowly begin to rock our head from side to side. Letting the chin drop towards each shoulder, back to the center, Off to the other side. And the next time your chin is even with your sternum, bring your head to stillness and make your way over onto one side of your body, stacking your hips, your knees, your elbows, and your shoulders. Take one more breath here, and then as you're ready, begin to press yourself up away from the floor, bringing yourself into a comfortable seated position, pressing both sits bones down into the earth as you straighten your spine. We'll drop our arms down by our side. Let the next inhale lift the arms in a sun breath. Hands come together. As we exhale, let's close our eyes, release our hands to our heart, and we'll tuck our chin towards our chest as we bow to the goddess that's found within each one of us. The light in me honors the light in each of you. Let the next inhale bring your chin to neutral. Open up your eyes, blinking them open slowly, releasing your hands. And thank you so much for joining me today in a gentle yoga practice. I hope to see you next week. Take care.